All right, welcome beautiful friends. This is Gina from the Rebookery channel. I am ready to start the mini album that I'm going to make to document this holiday season. And as promised, I'm going to try to keep it to stuff that I already have. I'm going to make it as simple as possible, and I'm going to go with just ring binders for my binding, and I'm just going to use some basic supplies. So the first thing that I think if you're going to want to do something like this, to make it easier, you can hand punch, but I got this at a thrift store for like $2, and it is amazing because it punches 2 holes and it just saves me so much time, and it saves my wrists and hands from having to punch a bunch of holes. But you could just use a hand punch if you wanted. Then I need to decide what my covers were going to be. So I could have used like a little golden book because I have several of these, but I don't know, I just wasn't feeling the little golden book. I don't have any that are in really bad shape, and I don't like to destroy ones that, you know, are in really good shape. So I don't feel like I want to cut anything up. I feel like I want to use, I want this to be as much recycled stuff as possible. So while I love the idea of this, and this would make it super easy and super simple, I'm not going to, because the ones I have for Christmas are already intact and they're in really good shape, and I don't want to tear anything up unless I need to. So I went out to my garage where I have just a bunch of book covers and just books that are kind of falling apart, and dug through that pile. And what I found was I have a lot of just book covers that would have worked, but for some reason this one was calling my name. It was kind of the right size. It's like 9 by a little less than 6 once I trim it a little bit big, but I think it'll work. I think it was the cover, and I think it was just this whole distressed, fallen apart type of thing. So it had these 2 pages that I'll get rid of, but the problem is that I couldn't find the back cover to this. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere. I've used it in another project or something. So I got to find another back cover. So here is a different cover. This came off of an atlas. It was not old. As you can tell it's seriously different, but that's okay. So what I'm going to have to do on this is I'm going to have to cut this to size. So in order to make this work, and this is really thick, in order to make this work, I need to trim off this excess right here. Although I do love it because it really gives that rough edge. I may see if I can try to keep this, but the reason why is because it won't go into my hole puncher. And I'll be honest, as thick as this is, I may not be able to punch holes on this anyway. I may have to punch holes by hand, or I may have to drill the holes, which is okay. I can do that for the covers. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to measure this out, and I'm going to trim down this back cover to make it fit my front cover. And then I'll probably have to finish the edges and stuff. And yeah, so that's the first thing I'm going to do. The pages that I was going to use for this mini book or journal, I wanted to, like I said, use as many recycled things and repurposed things as possible. So this is just some junk that I have collected. Well, I shouldn't say junk. It's actually good stuff, but it's just things I've collected, like notes from my students, wonderful, sweet gifts from some of my friends on the internet that I want to use and incorporate. Like when I made cookies last week, some things I've gotten at a thrift store, beautiful cards that people have sent me. And I'm thinking for the pages, I'm going to make this super simple. I'm going to make the pages be Christmas cards, or as many Christmas cards as possible. And here's why. 1, I'm going to give a new purpose to these Christmas cards. 2, they're already decorated. 3, they're always a nice weight, so I can glue or stitch or paint or whatever it is I want to do. And then also I can use the envelopes. So that is another plus, because then it can be like a pocket. And like this Christmas card, one of my students gave this to me, most beautiful Christmas card ever. and I definitely want to incorporate this. This is just absolutely gorgeous. It would just be a page all on its own. And then the envelope can actually be a pocket. So that's what I'm thinking for pages, is I'm going to use Christmas cards and envelopes, and then maybe put in some other pages as I go along. Okay, so now that I have the structure, I want my decorating to be super, super simple. And I have been working on a lot of journals and stuff, and this has actually been taking up a lot of my time the last couple of weeks. So I thought, well, why not document it? Because I have been having so much fun, and I've been doing so many cool things with this next journal collection that I want to release hopefully in the next coming couple months. But anyway, so what I did was I just grabbed all of the fabric scraps that I've been using, and these are just like on my desk. I literally just scooped up everything that was on my desk, and I thought, well, this will be my decorations, because this is a part of what I've been doing this month. This is a part of what I'm doing over Christmas break. And so while I don't need to maybe journal about it, just adding remnants from my crafty endeavors is actually going to be like a little hidden message within this book. So these are my decorations that I want to use. Then I have one more idea that I want to show you before I go and I take care of all this stuff first. Okay, so I got some Happy Mail, and I always like to cut off the address and stick it in my notebook so I know who sent me what. And by the way, thank you so much if you sent me Happy Mail. That is just the sweetest thing in the whole wide world, for you to be that giving and that kind. Anyway, so as I was getting rid of the packaging and stuff, I started to look at this envelope, and it's a bubble wrap envelope. And so I just messily cut it off, and I thought, okay, I could stitch this into some sort of a pocket, like put fabric or something behind it, and then this could actually be a page in my journal. And yeah, I mean, it would be kind of cool. And then I've documented it, and it kind of gives some texture, and it's a little long, so I'm gonna have to figure out how I can cut this down. I may cut it this way, may cut it this way, I don't know. Somehow I've got to figure out, ooh, or I could just do, oh, I like it like this. I could just do, look at that, it looks perfect right there. There's my holes, yep. Put my holes right there, and then stick some fabric right there. Yeah. So I'm gonna do this off camera. I'm going to turn this into a pocket and put some fabric on it. Okay, so let me go take care of all of those things, and I will be back. Okay guys, I'm back. So I had to do a couple of modifications. The cover turned out to be just a little bit short of the back cover. So first of all, I don't know, there was something about I needed to add something to this back cover. So I just had this metal corner thing that I don't even know where I got it. It was just like laying on my desk. So I put that on and kind of banged it up a little bit so it looks a little disheveled. And then this, I just added some trimmed, and I know it looks like I stitched on the cover. I didn't. This is way too thick and strong to go through my machine. So I stitched it first with some decorative stitching and then just added some trim, and then I just glued it. I just used some E6000 glue on here, and I'm hoping it stays. I might go back and hand stitch a couple of buttons on here just to make sure that this is secure, but I think it'll be okay. So now what I'm ready to do is make my pages. So I'm just going to use my little hole puncher here, or you could use your hand hole puncher, whichever you want. And so if you have this little ruler thing, you can set it up to however long your paper is. But because what I'm going to be doing is putting Christmas cards in, they're going to be smaller, so I can actually, you know, move it around a little bit and kind of go up a little bit or kind of go down a little bit. Same thing with my envelopes. And haven't quite decided if I want, like, so if I hole punch right here, then what will happen is that I will hole punch through the top and the bottom so that when I open it, it's still going to be connected. Now, I don't have a problem with that, and I may do some of my pages like that, but I don't know that I want to do all my pages like that. So one thing I may go do is trim off just a little bit on one of the sides so that when I hole punch, I'll only hole punch through the back or the front, whatever, and then this will become like a flap, or it can be a pocket if I wanted to stitch it, or it can be like I just glue it down and it just is one nice, really thick piece of paper. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to go through and take my envelopes and things like that and just kind of punch some holes in them to make my pages, and then I'll kind of start putting the book together so I know what pages I have and what I have to work with. So this is a new little tool I got. It's this We Are Memory Keepers clear cut punch, and I love, love, love them. I usually try to steer clear of tools just because, I don't know, I kind of feel like it gives me that cookie cutter effect, and I don't I like, you know, the more organic, hand cut, primitive type of look, but these punches are amazing. I actually have 3 of them. So let me show you why I love them. They are great for making little peek holes, and I've been obsessed with these lately because I feel like it just makes your journaling so much more interactive. So it works really simply. You just use this little magnet that they have, and then you line it up, and it comes with directions and all that good stuff, and then it just clicks into place. If I can find, there it is. And then you just have to punch down, and it'll punch out whatever little shape you have. And so now I have a peek hole on this side, and the card actually had a little peek hole right there. So what I'm thinking is I'm just going to make this a pocket, or I could go this way and make it a pocket this way. I don't know. I haven't decided. But anyway, so I wanted a couple peek holes. I actually may put, I think I'll put one more. Kind of have 2 little holes here. Whoops. And I like this because you can see what you're doing, and then you can line it up as best you can, which I'm never good at lining anything up, so that's another reason why I like hand cut and stuff, is because that kind of allows for some messiness, whereas this, oh, that's not too bad. You can kind of see that they're supposed to be lined up, and actually they did line up. So yay on that. Some of the stuff I had in here, I wanted to point out, this was a card from a sweet friend of mine, and she had included some really awesome artwork, and I took the artwork off of the front because I'll place it somewhere else in the journal. But I wanted to flip this card over and make like a pocket, because she had this little Santa pickle in this little pocket, and I think that is just the cutest thing in the world, and I wanted to show that. So that's why I took the artwork off of the front. I will put it somewhere else in the journal, but I just wanted to make sure I had the little pickle showing. And then I used a couple of pages from the actual book, that the front cover, and I just poked some holes in it and then stitched with some trim that another friend sent to me. And yeah, so I think I have my pages. So I think what I'm going to do now is, I think I can actually use those too. I think what I'm going to do is try to assemble this and see what other kind of pages I need, and maybe go over to my sewing machine and sew some of those pages together. So here's my ring binders, or binder rings, I guess, and I have some different sizes. While I want to use these small ones, I know that that's going to be way too small. So, and I think that's like a 1 inch. So I think what I'm going to do, these are going to be too big, but I'll be honest, by the time I fill this journal full of stuff, I may end up and have to use these. I don't know. They're there if I need it. And that's the cool thing about making a journal like this, is you can constantly switch it out. You don't have to use ring binders either. You can use thread, or not thread, but you can use like embroidery floss. You can use ribbon. I've actually got some mini books that I've made with like ribbon and trim and binding and stuff, and they hold together just fine. So I don't know, I think I'm going to start with these, and I have 2 black ones, and then if I have to go bigger, I'll go bigger. Okay guys, so here's where I am so far. I got it put together. I actually like it. I think it looks kind of cute. I like the black rings with the black type on here. Okay, so I basically have the pages in here, or just at least a rough draft of the pages, I guess is what I want to say. I can always add more. I can take out, you know, do whatever I need to do to this. So what I'm thinking is that I need to now set up, so like I have my pages in, but now I want to go ahead and like decorate my pages, not like decorate them, but like get them journal ready, so that I've already got, for example, like I've already got trim sewn on this one. This one I took over to my sewing machine and I sewed some trim on it and then just added some fabric. So if I go ahead and do that to all of my pages, then the next step would be to map out what, like a storyboard. So whenever I would make those mini albums a long time ago, especially if I was trying to like tell an actual story that had a beginning, middle, and an end, I would set up like a storyboard. Like, here's what I want to include, here's the photos I have, and how many pages would each photo take, kind of thing. So before I get ahead of myself, I think what I'm going to do is take this over to my sewing machine and just kind of add some touches to each of these pages, turn the cards that I want to turn into pockets and stuff, go ahead and stitch those, and then I'll come back, I'll show you what it looks like, and I'll have I'll show you how I would like set up a storyboard. Okay guys, so I jazzed up all my pages and put it back in the journal, and you can already see how thick it is, partly because I have a big fat bow in here. So let me walk you through what I did with these pages. So I just went through and I stuck some trim and kind of thought what I would use the page for, and that kind of guided how I stuck trim down. Now I know I'm using my sewing machine, but a lot of these I just stapled. So if you don't have a sewing machine, or you don't want to get your sewing machine out, you could absolutely staple these. You could sew, hand sew buttons on. So this was a card that I folded out, and then I had this pretty ribbon that someone had gifted me, and I wanted to attach it. So I just tied a really messy bow. I am awful at tying bows. And then I just stitched it, but you could absolutely staple it. And then I can tuck something in there if I wanted, do some journaling on there. I took apart some of the Christmas cards. Here is the one from my sweet friend Lizzie Snowbright, and here's what I did with hers. I sewed it into a pocket and then kept her little pickle on the outside. And then the beautiful artwork she sent me, I just stitched it onto the like the webbing or fabric that she had sent with it. And then I just tucked it into this little pocket here. So it's kind of keeping it together. There you go. And then kind of left this up here so you can pull it out. This is the back of some Happy Mail, and I just put some fabric on here. And again, I just stapled. You do not need a sewing machine. I just messy stapled. This about did my sewing machine in. So this was the packaging to the Happy Mail that I got, and what almost did my sewing machine was the fact that it was tape, and my sewing machine does not like to sew through tape. Well, no sewing machines like to sew through tape. The sticky will gum up your needle. And so yeah, I got about halfway through, and then I got over here and I was like, ooh, I can't do it anymore. So then I just went ahead and stapled the rest. But anyway, this will be a pocket, and I can stick something in that pocket, and it just kind of adds some texture and some, I mean, truly junkiness to this. This is going to be a pocket, I think. Oh, I put it in upside down. Let me see. I keep turning this particular card. I don't know why I keep turning it upside down. Good grief. There we go. All right, now put it back in. Again, that is the beauty of having these ring binders, is that you can take your pages out and flip them around if you need to. And so then this will be a pocket, and I think what I'll do is do my little half circle right there. This is envelope from Happy Mail, just sewed some trim on it. This was a card from a student that I just opened up. So then this was some fabric I found at a thrift store last week, and I thought it was kind of Christmassy, so I just kind of had hung on to it. So I sewed it to another half of a Christmas card. Actually, I think it's this half right here. And I knew I wanted to use that against this page that is called the Christmas Puppy, and I just saw this page actually laying on the floor with all my Christmas stuff, and I know I want to use this because this looks like my dog, and he actually got some treats for Christmas, and so we think he is like the baby of the world, and so I'm sure we're going to sit there and just oogle and google at him whenever he gets his treats for Christmas. So I know I want to document that, so I'm going to put that in there. And then I took apart the Christmas card that had that beautiful Christmas tree on it, and then just stapled a little tag that somebody had given me onto this envelope. So I have quite a few pages in here, and I also have some other pages that I can add to it. I'm thinking about this one, and I've got to put, like, I'll sew something on over here so that it has holes, but this would be a great fold out if I have a lot of photos for something, so I can add that. Also have this other half of this Christmas card, and this is where I kind of wrote out my storyboard, like what I want to put in this journal. So I've just kind of collected some of my bits that I have that I know I want to put in. I still need to print off all my photos. And then I just kind of put down some topics, because again, this is like, the story is too big to go into my journal, and it's, you know, not big enough to have its own scrapbook. So that's the kind of the point of this mini album, or this, I mean, it truly is like a junk journal, but I'm just going to call it a mini album. So I just kind of wrote down, these are the stories I want to make sure I tell, and I can just add to this list. And the cool thing is, because this is just a recycled Christmas card, I can just cover this up if I need another page and put some holes in it, and I can stick this. Actually, I think I will put some holes in it right now, because that will actually stay in the front of my journal. And then that way I can keep track of what I have done so far. And then all my good bits that I have here, I will just tuck into one of these pockets if I can. Ooh, I sewed that one. Maybe not that one. Maybe not that one. All right, hang on. I got to find me a pocket here. Oh gosh, wouldn't that be awful if I made all these pockets and then none of them worked for what I needed? There we go. There we go. Stick them in there. Close it up. Awesome, awesome. And then I'll figure out what I want to do with this one. So yeah, so now my task, once I've gotten this all put together, now my task is to print off my photos and then just start literally putting the memories in. And it's going to be photo if I have it, or artifact from whatever it is that I'm journaling about, and then a short story. I'm not going to spend a lot of time getting decorative. I'm just going to make sure I get the memory down. So we will start journaling in this in part 3. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. I encourage you guys, if you haven't made a journal for your holidays, or maybe it doesn't even have to be a holiday. Maybe it's a trip that you took, or maybe It's a story about one of your children, or maybe something that happened to you when you were a child and you wanted to document it. It was a memory you wanted to hang on to. I encourage you to find some supplies that you have laying around and make one of these little journals that does not require a lot of stitching. It's just poking holes in it and putting some recycled bits in as your pages, maybe birthday cards or Christmas cards, and then throwing together a little mini book to record that wonderful memory. Until next time, guys, I will see you later. Have a great rest of the day and happy holidays.